Hey guys, Kev here, and I have an unboxing to do for you. It's a little hot. This here is from GP Knives, guys, and I went and did it. I ordered another Slim Midi. So, you guys know I pretty recently got the Medford Slim Midi, and I fucking love the knife. I had to send it back to get the detent strengthened, and I'll probably have to do that with this one, depending on how different they are, but I just like a little bit of a stronger detent to get a pop on that reverse flick, not have to use wrist, you know? But anyway, they recently changed their processes. So now they use a different type of tumble finish, and it's more of like a, it has more of a shine to it than it does like a matte, like dirty tumbled look like it used to. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to get a new one, just to see the differences, and it was maybe worth it then to try it because it's not going to be identical. I also got a different finish. I wanted something with PVD. I still wanted the Tanto, and it turned out the one they had was like perfect for what I wanted. It's like gray PVD on the handles, tumbled blade, Tanto, and then it does have like ano on the clip and hardware. We'll see how that goes. I can have them change that. But the unboxing knife, sadly, thanks to David over at Eggs and Ham 22, is the Boker Magnum Mermaid knife using 7CR17 MOV. Huh? Fancy steel. Fancy pants steel. And it is sharp, guys. I will admit, this knife cuts. It will cut. All right. Oh, God. Get that thing away from me. All right. Oh, shit. Okay. So, I'm trying to get this out of here without too much of a fuss. Oh, Jesus. We've got penis everywhere. Goddamn penis. And if you guys don't know, when I say that, I actually say the word penis because I think it's funny. Some people are like, you gotta work on your vocabulary. It sounds like you're saying penis. And I'm like, yeah, it's because I'm saying penis. That's the joke. GP Knives, guys. I gave them a call when I saw this on their site, and the guy there was kind enough to go grab it from the warehouse, go over it with me, kind of walked over centering, action, just details, and he was really good about it, and I really appreciate that. It was my first time ever ordering from GP Knives, and I'd say it was a really good experience. Now, the knife is a different thing, we'll see, but as far as he could tell, it was, you know, very well QC'd and everything, so, you know, detent and stuff, that's more of a preference type thing. So, let's get into it. We have our Medford box, of course. And I love their packaging, by the way. That then comes in a Medford, like, waterproof case. I mean, this is the best, type of packaging I've ever had with a knife. It has a dog tag, this cool case. Like, you guys have seen it in my first unboxing, so let's see, guys. So you get a patch and some stickers from Medford. You get their warranty and care, Greg's bald face. We've seen all that before. We have a certificate of authenticity or creation, April 9th, 2021. So there you go. Slim Midi, S35VN, tumbled PVD finish, grind, Tanto, handle, tumbled PVD, spring, tumbled PVD. It does say the finish is tumbled PVD, but the blade is supposed to be not PVD, but we'll see. Yeah, it's not. Okay. Oh, wow. This could be sexier than the one I have. Okay, hang on. Sorry, I got a little fell in love real quick there. Okay, so here she is, guys. Look at that. That is absolutely sexy as balls. This is their new hardware. So they have this new kind of giant Allen key pivot thing instead of the 4-gun, which I kind of like the 4-gun, but it's different, so that's cool. Then you have this darkish kind of wash on all the hardware and ano on the clip and the larger size hardware. And then you obviously have the blade. Let's feel that. Little bit of detent lash, but not bad. Detent feels pretty good, actually. Okay. Breathe, Kev. All right, so yeah, it is more of a tumbled finish on that blade, whereas my other one is satin. But this being their new process, it's still a bit shinier than a otherwise tumbled blade from them. This is on ball bearings. Oh my God. It is absolutely centered. The detent is crushing it, guys. This detent is, yes, it feels just like the one I have. So, like maybe there's a little bit of grit in the bearings. I don't know what that would be. Just the detent ball maybe working itself in. No, I don't hear anything. It's like having my baby back. Because I sent mine off to Jake over at Bearded Gear as a surprise knife. Because he hates Medford, and I just wanted him to try the Slim Midi because I love it so much. Look at the grind on this, guys. Just absolutely sexy with this gray PVD finish on it. And the ano here. Ano on the barrel spacers. I didn't even notice that. It's like just enough hint of ano for me to not mind it. Because I don't like that flashy ano. Yes! Yes! Sorry. Oh, my window's open. Sorry, guys. This is so good. Oh my God, it's better than the one I have, I think. Detent feels a little bit stiffer. Or maybe I'm just used to it at this point. Or maybe the tumbled finish bites a little more into my nail, so I get more of a kick on that flip. But holy shit, this is good. I mean, I am blown away. Guys, this is what, it's just so nice when you get a knife that lives up to any type of hype you build in your head, and that is what I did with this knife. I don't know what it is about this model and me, but that was me. But it's just so good. I can't explain it. I don't know if you can see the PVD finish on here. I really like that because my other one has this kind of tumbled like up here on the flats. Oh, well, you can see the flats, but it's kind of rough, right? And that's how the whole handle, the titanium, is on the other one. But this one has that PVD finish, and then it's like, instead of being black, it's gray. And it's just absolutely stunning. I love it right off the bat, guys. The clip does sit off a little bit. So I think that's how my other one was. But then when it's open, no, I guess it just always sits off. I don't know. Hang on. Yeah, it sits a little bit proud, but it doesn't click as much as my other one. But I'm guessing it's going to... Yeah, it's got a light retention on it. But you can always bend that pretty easy. Just take it off, bend it, put it back on. I'll probably just leave it alone. It might just wear in a little bit. And I always carry it up front left anyway. So yeah, guys, absolutely in love right off the bat with my new Medford Slim Midi Tanto, gray PVD, and then ano on the pivot, clip, and over travel stop there. Just such a fantastic knife. I cannot recommend the Slim Midi enough, and I can finally do my review now that I have this one. And I may link that into the end of this video or not, I don't know. But I love you guys so much. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will catch you later. Hey guys, Kev here, and I want to do my full review on the Medford Slim Midi. So I think I'm splicing this into right after I unbox this knife here. I literally got this today in the mail from GP Knives. Now, before anybody goes and runs and says, hey, why are you filming a review the day you got a knife? I have had a Slim Midi for over a month now, maybe even more. It's been a long time between getting a knife and doing a review for this one, mainly because I love it so much and I wanted to carry it more. And when I'm done a review, I kind of don't get to carry things anymore. And I also had to send it out to Medford to get the detent strengthened. That Slim Midi, which is absolutely gorgeous, has blue anodized titanium scales with a satin blade on it, also a Tanto, and then it has just plain titanium hardware. Man, that thing is sexy, guys. That is on the way to Jake right now. Bearded Gear. He hates Medford. He's only ever tried a DP, a 187 DP, which looks like shit to me. So I wouldn't like Medford either. And honestly, the only knife that catches my eye is this knife. And this is my second one, guys. And no, I didn't sell the other one. Like I said, it's on its way to Jake to be reviewed, not because I sold it. Kyle, DTM Knives and Gear, asked me today. He's like, oh, so you got that one. You're going to be selling one, right? Because he's interested in trying one on bearings, which obviously he's going to be able to try the one I sent Jake or this one. And I honestly, I don't think so. I really like this knife. I love this knife. It's in my top 5. It is very quickly creeping to the top 3, and I don't know what to push out. So, you know, like right now, my top 3 is the Holt Haptic, the Evo 2.0, and the Urban EDC Supply Vox F5.5. And something needs to push out of the 3 to get this in, right? Starting to think it might be the Haptic just because it's a flipper only, but it's so good. And the Evo is so good. But I will say I probably could flick this a little better than that Evo, so that might be the one to go. Not like I'm selling it. It's just they're still all in the top 5. But that's how good this knife is, right? That's kind of the point I'm trying to get across. And yeah, so at the risk of just rambling all night, I'm going to try to just jump into the review and go through my kind of categories and knock this one out. But I love this knife, guys, and it's such a good knife that I don't think people understand. Like, I see them rarely on the secondary, which is interesting, but because you'd think that means people like them. But then when they sell for cheap. Like you buy it for $550 and they sell for $375. But yet there's not many of them. So it's a really strange situation you see with the Slim Midi and Medfords in general. So I don't know. It's interesting to say the least. But let's jump into this here Medford. Aesthetically, this thing, again, this is personal bias, but or subjectivity, whatever. This thing is sexy as balls. This has a PVD coated handle, which obviously is not black. It's like this gray PVD, which is perfect. Absolutely sexy as fuck. And then it has, I guess it's tumbled after that. I don't know what their process is, but it looks really, really good. And then you can tell here the hardware has been anodized, and like the pivot collar, I guess, or the pivot screw, the over travel stop, and the clip all have that ano on the hardware, right? And then the screws have this, I don't even know what it is. It's just like this dirty colored ano on it, which you'd think would look bad, but honestly, I think it looks sexy altogether as a package. It's almost like faux rusting on the inside there of the pivot screw. You see that? I don't know how to explain it, but it's awesome in person. And then you get to the blade, and you get this sexy ass Tanto. I mean, people keep asking me, why did you get another Tanto? You already had a Slim Midi Tanto. Why not get the drop point so you have the best of both worlds? And my answer is the Tanto is sexy as fuck. Like, the drop point, it's okay. It's still a good looking knife to me. I still would have bought one if all I could get was the drop point. But I want the Tanto because look at this profile. I mean, it's just absolutely sexy. And again, subjective. This is all me right here. Opinion, right? But that's how I feel. I look at this knife and I'm in love, like instantly. Anyway, so this blade has the Tanto, which again, functionally for me, I think the Tanto is better because I open a lot of packages and I love using this secondary tip to kind of drop into a package and cut it open without diving into the package. It also works on shipping labels and stuff like that. I love the hollow grind on this section right here, and then there's a flat, so it's a really nice compound grind. But yeah, just absolutely sexy, guys. The blade is tumbled, so that's the one thing that I would change about the looks as of right now. And there may come a day where this anode doesn't look right to me or whatever, and I send it in to have them black it out. That would be the originally what I wanted was this knife, but blacked out hardware and clip, right? So that would all be PVD black, and then the blade in satin, or even a PVD blade, but I think satin would be better. My other one is satin, and that satin looks so sexy. Now, I believe this is being made with their new process, so it's a little bit shinier than their normal tumbles, so it still looks relatively close to that satin I have, but you can see the rough kind of tumble in there, and I just prefer a satin. Now, I don't know if I sent it to them, if they could somehow make it satin. I don't know if that's a thing. I feel like it starts out satin and then it's tumbled. But then again, satin costs more, so maybe they could. I don't know. I'm not worried about that right now. So aesthetically, this is a home run for me, guys. I love this design. I love the layout. I just love how everything looks. That over travel stop, the clip. It's freaking gorgeous. So that's aesthetics, guys. Ergonomics on this guy are absolutely fantastic. It's another home run for me. I don't know why. Some people have said that it's too skinny. I mean, it's called the Slim Midi, right? So it is slimmer than a lot of knives. But I mean, if I take out a bug out here, which we've all fallen in love with, the bug out is... Yeah, I mean, they are about the same exact thickness. So you're looking at a bug out thickness here, which to me is really good. I absolutely love the way a bug out feels in my hand. I mean, you can see it here. Is that better? Up there, it looks like the Slim Midi might be ever so slightly thicker. See down here. So there you go. I mean, it is really hard to tell. And then the clip on this obviously sticks up higher. So overall thickness, I'd say the bug out technically is a little bit wider. Now, if I grab something normal, right? Like what's a normal, just like carry knife that people would have, right? A Malibu or here, how about the Finch Holiday, right? Just a standard knife, you know. That is much thicker than the Slim Midi, you can see here. So it's definitely a thin knife, but I'm preferring that at this point. I love that. And in my hand, sorry, you can get it out there. In my hand, it's really comfortable. I can hold it back here, and I have really good control. There's no unnecessary jimping on this knife. Like, it's like Greg, it's like he woke up one day and was like a completely different person and designed this knife or something. Like, there's no jimping or anything rough to get in your way. It's on bearings. Like, all these things that normally don't happen at Medford happened on this knife. And I'm absolutely grateful that it did. But if you hold it back here, it's really comfortable. And again, no jimping, but you have tons of control, no issue. Then you have this freaking nice choil that's kind of built into the handle and into the blade. And you can get all the way up to here, and your thumb rides 3/4 of the way up the blade, and now you have really good control on like a push cut, I think this is called. I'm learning, guys. And if you want to go into these reverse grips, this feels like shit. And this feels really good. So if I ever have to get into a Friday night gas station fight at 7-Eleven, I mean, I'm winning that fight all day. I mean, I got the upside down tip. Call this the reverse Tanto. So it's really good for that. Yeah, I think the ergos are good. The one thing I will say against it in terms of ergonomics, it's not too thin, not for me, is sometimes I don't know where I'm holding it because there's no finger grooves, there's no anything, no choil, I mean, no jimping. The choil is kind of less pronounced than a lot of choils, so like, I'll kind of just grab it and I'll just be like, I'll be like, okay, I'll slide up a little bit. I don't know, let me slide back a little. Like, so it's not like, it's not an actual issue. It's just like, sometimes you don't know where to go because you don't have locator points. A lot of knives have locator points. You know where you're gripping at all times. I wonder if I could give you an example. Here's just a random one. Here's the Best Tech exploit I just got in from my buddy Joe, the Knife Whisperer. When you're in this back grip, you know you're here because you have jimping right here, and you have a swell and sort of an index finger groove, right? So I'm locked into this position. I guess that's a better way to put it, locked in. And then when I choke up into the choil, it's obvious as well because now I'm at the front of the jimping. I have this choil that my index finger is clearly supposed to go into. Ring finger, middle finger goes here, right? It's just different on this knife where you don't have all those cutouts. So you're just kind of like holding it. And then you either slide up or you slide down, right? It's just like, I don't know how to explain that better, but that's ergos. I really like them, okay? Sounds. So when this thing fires open, it has a very good tactile whack. When it closes, it tings a little. Do the thumb. So, interestingly, it's not like a loud, really thwack. The opening is a good, solid whack. You know, like when those stop pins smack into there, it just makes a good, solid sound, I will say. The closing is really kind of muted. Just a little ting, but you can feel the detent suck it in, which is nice. So I'd say it's like a 6 for me because that opening is really good. The closing, not so much. So it gets some points for opening and then loses some for... If it had a really nice, like sucked in click on the close, it would be up there with like an 8, but it's a 6 as it stands. Fucking sounds. I know sometimes it's stupid, but it matters to me. In a lot of cases anyway. A carry... So this clip is interesting. I will say, the first one I got, the blue one, when I got it, the clip sat off of the scale a little bit. So it was like just ever so slightly off of the scale. And then I think when it was open, when it was open, it would sit off a little bit. And then when the knife was closed, it would just touch and it would kind of like ting a little. When I sent it back to get the detent strengthened a little, they must have bent it because it was then like on the scale at all times and you could tap it and it would make tappy sounds. It still does. This one, I got today, and it was sitting off the scale like this much. And I actually took the clip off and I bent it a little bit because I'd heard it's super easy to take care of that. And it was. Like, I took it off, I just bent it a little bit, and then I bent it a little too far, and then I just kind of did this to give it a little, bend the other way. And now it's absolutely perfect. Tension's good. It's no clacking. I'm definitely going to do that with the other one when I get it back. And then in terms of, well, I guess I should touch on the fact that you need to be careful if you do take this clip off. So Medford, I'm pretty sure they don't want you to take your knife apart. They don't say that, I don't think. And if you know what you're doing, it's fine. But they don't want anybody modding their knives or anything. But I think they're fine with you doing normal maintenance if you have to, obviously. But just looking at their hardware over the years, I don't think they want people to just be taking them apart willy-nilly. But when I took this, so it's me, guys, so of course it was an issue. I took this screw out, came out no problem, had tons of Loctite on it. Took this screw out, same thing, came out pretty easy. Now, they were really tight because they were Loctited. But then when I took the clip off and I kind of just I was like, hey, let me open the knife with no clip and see what happens, right? Just to feel it. Something fell out. And I was like, what the fuck? Because there's these awesome standoffs, which I didn't mention, are also anodized. And I was like, there's nothing missing. What's going on? I kind of looked inside, and it's like maybe there's something there in the hole where the clip goes in, on the inside. And then I searched the floor with a magnet, and it's under my printer, I found this tiny little nut. A nut that goes on the end of a screw. And I was like, does this fit onto this clip screw? And it did. And I was like, okay, this is clearly from this knife. So there's actually these tiny nuts on the inside of the scale, and that's what the clip tightens into. So the clip just has these holes, and then there's nuts on the inside. And I actually thought, and then there's obviously a cutout in the scale for the nut to sit into, so it's not just sitting on the scale. And at first I was like, this is stupid. Why would you design it that way? But then I thought, it's actually pretty smart. It's going to be a lot harder to strip out a nut than it is to strip out threads in titanium, right? Because that nut is obviously steel, I would guess. And it sits in the pocket, and when you tighten it, I don't know. I just think it's actually a really good design feature, and I've never seen that before. I mean, there's no wiggle in this clip after me putting it back on and tightening. I did put some Loctite in. The screws don't stick out, really. I mean, maybe just ever so slightly. I just think it's a really cool way of putting a clip in. And I just had never seen it before, so I wasn't expecting it. Luckily, I found the piece, right? And the other one stayed in, I guess. If there is one in the bottom screw. I'm guessing there's one in there, too. That one stayed in, probably because the Loctite had it in there. Because it tightened perfectly, so I'm assuming it's in there anyway. But it went back on fine, and now the clip is great. Retention's even better, and it wasn't really an issue. But it does carry relatively light in your pocket. So, how do I explain that? Light in your pocket. When you put it in, can I do it on my shirt? When you put it in, it has a lot of room, other than that retention point, there's a lot of room for it to move up and down and stuff. So there's a lot of clearance, I guess, in here. So it can shift a little bit in your pocket, but it never comes out. So the clip works, but I did find myself readjusting a lot when it was in my back pocket. When it was in my front left, it stayed right where it was at all times, and it was fine. So it's kind of a case by case, but carry's good. It's just not great. And of course, it's not deep carry. You have this much sticking out, which on a knife this big, it doesn't bother me at all. It's a right-handed knife, but I carry it in my front left because it doesn't have a flipper. It doesn't have an opening hole. I mean, an opening hole wouldn't matter. It doesn't have thumb studs. It has these stops, but they don't stick out. It just doesn't have anything that's going to, like, I'm going to reach in and accidentally open this knife and then reach into a pair of scissors, right? And those are the type of knives I won't carry in my front left. Anything with like a flipper tab or something like that. Unless I know the detent is solid. Like on the Haptic or the Malibu, like I can trust it. So there's case by case, but carry's good. Cutting, guys. Whoever said Medfords don't cut is stupid. I mean, seriously, this thing cuts so well. I was impressed. I mean, you can see the blade stock is not like ridiculous or anything. But it just cuts extremely well. I mean, I did it in my unboxing of the blue one. It just goes through paper like a laser beam. It has this compound grind with a hollow here and a flat up here. It's razor sharp. Yeah, it's S35BN. Would I at this point appreciate M390, S45, something like that instead? Yes, I would. Do I care that much that I'm not going to buy this knife? No. I fucking love this knife, and S35 is fine for me, personally. And yeah, I will say things like that, like the Best Tech exploit. When I got this, I literally said I expect M390 for that 200 and whatever they charge you at Best Tech for this knife. So I'm a little bit of a hypocrite. In this case, it doesn't bother me that much. I don't know. It just is what it is. Like, I know Best Tech uses M390, so just fucking use it. Medford doesn't use M390, so I don't know. It's a little bit of a different game, right? That's how I see it anyway. Again, being a little bit of a hypocrite, I'm honest about that. So that covers everything but action before we get to value and stuff. So I like to hold action for later because it's my favorite part of a knife. Other than maybe aesthetics. So this knife, as I fail it twice, this knife has some of the best action that I've actually felt once it was dialed in. So the blue one I had to send in to get the detent strengthened because it was just a little light. Like I would have this issue where it would come out to like, see, I can't even do it on this one. This one has a stronger detent. I could flick it out to like halfway. Like less than that. It would come out to like here. It just wasn't... It wasn't as fun to flick. You would really want to use wrist to get it out, right? And they do break in. I will say that. But I sent it in and asked them to strengthen it like 15-20%. And I initially got that back and I was like, I probably should have asked for like 30 to 40, right? But after carrying it for a day, I was like blown away by how much different it was. So it was just a matter of getting off camera and using it. And then when I got this one today, I was like, damn, this detent is money. I mean, they seriously nailed it. So I guess I don't know if it's just varying or their new process makes it to where the detent's better now. I don't know. I can't answer that question. But the middle finger flick on this knife, left-handed, is absolutely fantastic. And you've seen me fail it. And not even fail it, you've seen me miss the deployment. Because the detent actually is kind of strong, I've slipped out of here before. And this is on a tumbled blade. My other one's satin, so I assume... No, I guess the tumbled would be softer. So the edges here are not as sharp on this, I guess, as my other one. It doesn't catch as well. And I will say I've kind of messed with my nail a little bit. So it could just be the nail. But, I mean, if I get in here and pay attention, it fires out every time. And it's just, it has that satisfying feeling. I mean, if you've middle finger flicked a good knife, you know that feeling. Like, every time I flick this EDC Field Duty from Liang Ma, I get that feeling. It's just so satisfying to feel a good, solid detent and then just feel the break and feel it snap out. It's just amazing. And this knife has that for sure. And yeah, as a lefty, you've seen me mess it up a couple times. And that will happen, but it's not really lock bar issues. I can pretty much hold this anywhere. Like right there, I held it right on the lock bar. And I can still flick it out. So it's just a matter of me getting in the right kind of position and everything. And when I'm fidgeting with it, I rarely have that issue. It's just because I'm on camera and whatever. So deployment is fantastic. And then on the close, this thing is on bearings. And it's super shake shut. It's not a dropper, but it's really smooth. Like you can't hear anything. I mean, I don't know if you can hear anything. I can't. Maybe the slightest bit of rub there, but the thumb flick is satisfying. The stop pin or blade stop, sorry, I keep calling it stop pin. The blade stop flick is satisfying. Yeah, just all around, it's a satisfying action. Now, I will say this particular model has a little tiny bit of lock stick. I can feel it when I go to disengage it. I mean, it is barely anything, but it is there, and my other one doesn't have any. And I kind of am attributing that to maybe the PVD or the tumbled finish on the blade, or maybe the satin on the other one. Like somewhere in there, one of them makes it smoother and one of them makes it a little rough. Like maybe the PVD, it needs to get worn in, and maybe the satin one, it just has no stick for some reason. I don't know. I'm just guessing. But it really is like almost non-existent. It's already 90% better. And I will say disengaging this knife left-handed is a lot easier to me. Right-handed, it is a thin knife. So you have to get in there. But it works. So I don't know. I find it enjoyable on action completely. Value. So this is where people are going to jump ship. This knife right here, I paid $645 for. Now, base model is like $500, but then you add PVD, and you add Ano, and you add Tanto. It just adds up, and it somehow got the $640, I think. The other one I got was was that one $545? I don't know. The only thing I added on that one was the Tanto, satin Tanto, which cost me an extra like $75. It was $575 because I added the satin Tanto. So that's where that cost came in. And yeah, I get it. S35BN titanium frame lock on bearings, American made, 100% American made product right here. It's a lot of money. I mean, it's more than a Sabenza. It's more than a Hinder XM18 or whatever, mostly, right? I'm guessing. If you get into all their finishes and stuff, I mean, it gets there, right? Like, if you get the micarta and the whatever on the Sabenza, you get up to $550 or whatever. So they're comparable. It's a little bit more than those, though, I'd say. I see the value in it. I see the value. I feel the value in it. The feel of it, it has a good weight to it. It's not heavy. It's like 4 ounces, but has a good weight to it, but it's spread out. It's balanced. The machine work, more so than on the Sabenza I had, I can see my money. Like, I can see where human hands had to be involved in this. I mean, look at the blade grinds. I mean, look at the grind lines. Sorry, grind lines. Blade grinds? What the fuck did I say? Look at the grind lines on this. I mean, the finishing work is spectacular. Down to that ano, these cutouts, just everything that was done on this. And I'm not saying it's all done by hand. I'm just saying somebody put their hands on this knife. You can tell. It's extremely well made, and I absolutely see the value in it. Do I wish it was cheaper? Yes. Do I think it's like a good price, like a value? I always say that. No. But I see why it costs what it does, and I don't mind paying it, as you can tell, because I bought another one. And as you can tell, because I've been rambling for like 40 fucking minutes at this point about this knife and won't shut up. Seriously. So yeah, value's there, guys. Recommendations. This is a funny one. Going into this, I was really worried about this frame lock and how was it going to flick for a lefty because it has this fucking frame lock here, right? And I found out it works fantastically for a lefty. This is one of the best right hand only knives I've ever had as a lefty. Like for a lefty, you know what I mean? It works fantastically. You can carry it in your front left pocket because it doesn't have anything to snag or catch. It's a fucking workhorse. This thing will go to work for you if you want to do that. I just think it's such a good knife, and I honestly think it's undervalued. Like, not undervalued, underappreciated. I don't think it gets the love that it should. This is better than a Sabenza. This is better than an XM18. This is better than any Strider I've ever touched or seen. And it doesn't get that kind of love, I don't think. And I think part of that is Medford. I think part of that is Greg Medford, right? He kind of bites himself in the ass a little bit with how he is. And I completely love the guy. And I agree with most of his politics. Some of the shit he says, but mostly I'm in line there. But I can definitely see why that would put off people. To the point where you're, like, I posted this in a group and somebody was like, oh, Medford, like, the experience sucks. And, like, they just posted, like, blind ass comments from something, like from a Reddit poster, and I'm like, was that you that had the experience? Do you know the guy? No, it's just online. Like, and that's what happens when you have a reputation like that. People put shit out there like that, and then other people believe it, and it builds, right? So I think he's partially to blame for that, but I also think that people are a little bit too fucking sensitive, and that hurts him. Right? And it hurts me too. Like, I say what I think. And I'm sure there's plenty of people who turn my videos off. Right? So I can see that. And it's unfortunate. Because this knife is absolutely fantastic. It's one of my favorite knives ever. It's literally a top 3 knife that I've had on this channel, that I've had in my collection. I bought 2 of them now. That's like $1,300, $1,400 that I've spent on Slim Midi in the last couple months. Like, so I'm gonna leave it at that. Absolutely love this knife. I urge you to give it a shot, whether it's borrowing a friend's or getting one yourself. And even if you get one, like I did the first time, and it's not perfect, they will help you. All I did was reach out to them. I didn't get extra attention because I have a YouTube channel. I don't care less. And they were super friendly, super nice. Yeah, we'll adjust your detent by 15-20%. Like, most companies be like, shut the fuck up. Or like, yeah, sure, we'll strengthen it, or we'll, whatever, right? Like, or you can return it. But they literally strengthened it 15-20%, like exactly what I asked for. They have a legacy program where you can send your knife in and ask for different like, I could get this all blacked out. I could change the knife around. They will do stuff like that for you. And unless you're a total asshole, they're going to treat you well. Like, it's like anybody else. So I just think they get a bad rap. And I've had nothing but exceptional customer service and experience from them. Specifically from Amy Medford. From Lindsay, I forget her last name, Blazik, I think, something like that. I think there was another Lindsay I spoke to in email. All of them, top-notch customer service, sales, whatever you want to call it. They know what they're doing, and they want to help their customers, and they want you to be happy with their product. And I absolutely fucking love it. And that's it. That's it. I'm going to shut up. That has been the full review of the Medford Slim Midi. Okay, one last thing. One thing that does bug me a little bit. All right. I'll give you one con is that this detent track is outside on the blade. I do wish that was like under the scale or something, so you couldn't get like dirt and shit right in there. It doesn't actually hinder the action at all, so it's not really an issue. It does look kind of weird. So there's a negative for you. I love this knife, guys. I'm going to continue to love this knife, and I hope you give it a shot. So that's it, guys. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. I love you all. And I will catch you later.